Okay, hello. And that is quite enough of my face. So let's get on. We have a piece of MDF here. So we should check first of all that it is as it should be. It should be 150 by 150, and I've just confirmed that there. Okay. Then what we need to do is do a complete line around here to enable us to drill 4 holes in the corners. So we're going to do it the proper way, which is going to be to take a marking gauge, and we're going to set the pin, the scribe, so it says 10 millimeters. So you can put a steel rule here, and you can adjust it if you just lightly loosen the thumb screw there and change so it slides, it's not completely loose, and just adjust it until it says 10, that does now, and then tighten it. You can work with 2 people, it makes it much easier. When it says 10, you can then take your piece of MDF and you can go around the outside and around this side as well. Now, remembering this from last year, you need to push it up against this part here, the fat part, which is called the stock. And unless you are pushing against the stock, you are wasting your time. Okay, without the stock, it could just be a needle anywhere in space. So you must push as you slide. If you look at this, you will see that I have the wood in contact and the needle in contact at exactly the same time. So we're pushing away from ourselves. We're pushing away from ourselves. And we're pushing away from ourselves. There are alternative methods to this. That one should be fine. Before you do any cutting or drilling, you should always measure twice and cut once. So do put a steel rule and just see if your scratch line is 10 millimeters away. What you guys can't see is I've actually scratched, I'm not sure if you can see, I'm not sure, I don't think so. What you can't see is I've actually scratched a line along here. And by all means, practice this technique. Put your pencil on the line you want, and then you put your finger underneath the pencil. And then as you press it down, as you press it onto that line and drag, your finger becomes the guide. And as long as you don't move, it enables you to draw quite straight parallel edges. That is a carpenter's trick that you may want to do afterwards, just to make sure you've got something nice and legible. Once we have this, we're ready to drill through, and we're going to drill through all of the corner points here. Here and here, here and here, here and here, here and here. Okay, we're going to drill through with our cordless drill. If it's got the wrong drill bit in place, you can remove it yourselves. If you turn the chuck, the drill becomes loose. If you keep spinning, you'll see that the jaws open up, and if you spin the other way, you'll see the jaws tighten. 1, 2, 3 jaws. Take the correct drill bit and place it, making sure it's in the middle of the jaws and not in between 2 of them, and then we tighten, and then a firm grip to tighten it properly. Okay, we now have the drill bit we want. Don't forget, as per last year, if it's going anti-clockwise, it is not going to work. So press these buttons to make sure that it goes clockwise. If it's making a big racket, then maybe you've got it in hammer mode. Just make sure it's on one of the drill settings. Okay, clockwise is the way it should go. Now, we're going to drill. What you must not do is drill like so through the material into this table. That is vandalism. These tables are 400 pounds, do not damage. What you're going to do is drill into a drilling board with your position. Then with your handheld drill, put your finger on the drill, don't press the trigger, place it on the corner where the lines cross. Make sure that you are perpendicular and drill straight through, and repeat 4 times. Now, that hole should be, in theory, wide enough so this screw can go straight through without touching the sides, and it'd be what we call a clearance hole. In this case, because we're using such light, thin, fluffy MDF, we're going to drill through with a hole that's slightly smaller than it. Okay, but normally this would be a clearance hole which is slightly bigger than it. What we do next is we make sure we've got 2 pieces of wood, 1, 2, and we're going to screw our MDF onto the wood. Take your wood and you're going to clamp it like so. Then you're going to put your MDF onto the wood and make sure that you're exactly flush. You are not going too far this way, that it's exactly flush on the sides, and then you can put your screw into place. But if we did that, we might split our wood. So once you've got it lined up, you're going to use it as a template. Make sure it does not move. Put 1 or 2 fingers there very firmly. Make sure it does not move. Take your drill bit in your drill, go into this hole and drill through. You can go around about that deep. It doesn't really matter in this case because we have a big thick piece of wood, and we can go about halfway. It will do no harm, but really go a third of the way down this piece of wood. Making sure you don't move your fingers. You can then do your other side about a third of the way. Okay. Now you are now ready to screw this in. But if we screwed it in with our little tiny screws, look for this little box here or similar, and the screws you want are, it says here, 20 millimeters long. You're going to screw them in. But before we screw them in, we're going to countersink these holes so that these screws go in completely flush. So we're going to take our countersink bit. And these will probably be set up for you guys already. There's a countersink in here. That is a countersink. That countersink should be in that drill. Again, tight, but you can always change them over if you need to with the same technique. Okay, make sure that you countersink so that's going backwards, that's wrong, clockwise. You're going to countersink this wood until that hole is the same diameter as that screw, and then you know you've gone deep enough. Okay, or you could try it and just see that it goes flush and sits in there completely flush. Okay, you need to do that on all 4 holes as well. Then we can screw it in. Take from the wall a Phillips screwdriver or a crosshead screwdriver, and take your countersunk screw, place into the pre-drilled pilot hole, and make sure you screw it in nice and firmly, righty-tighty, clockwise, until it just feels nice and tight. Don't over-tighten, you can damage the wood and it can pull straight through. Okay, now it's very important that the hole that you have drilled uses the correct drill bit. The correct drill bit should be the same thickness, it should be not the same thickness, it should be thinner than this screw. If it is slightly thicker than this screw, then nothing will happen. This is the correct drill bit, and I'm going to drill a hole into this piece of wood. And you can see that I am able to screw into this hole here. This is a suitable pilot hole. for this screw. The threads have got something to grip onto, and the pilot hole that I've drilled stops this splitting open. Okay. The hole next to it looks a very similar size, just a little bit bigger, and this hole is too big and is completely useless. Okay, that hole just passes in there, there's nothing to grip. So it's very important that you make sure the drill bit is not as thick as this. Okay, check before you do. If you have got a hole that's too big, you can fix it, but it's not ideal, but we can put some little chips of wood in there. And again, that just gives something for the teeth of the screw to bite, and that should solve your problem. But if you pick the right drill bit to start off with, there won't be a problem. Okay, you need to do this for all 4 sides, turning this around as you go. Don't forget to use that as a template on this side, and pilot hole these 2 as well, countersink these 2, and screw these 2 in, and that will give you your starting your platform, which is this shape here.